The wind howled across the Antarctic ice. Dr. Alan Frost pulled his thick coat tighter around his body. The cold bit at his face, but excitement warmed his heart. For 3 years he had studied the strange energy readings coming from beneath this barren ice sheet. Today they would finally discover what lay below. "Dr. Frost, the drilling team is ready," called Olivia Martinez. Lieutenant Martinez headed the security team. She was tall, with dark hair always pulled back in a tight bun. Her eyes scanned the horizon, alert for any danger. "Great, let's make history," Alan replied, his breath forming clouds in the frigid air. The year was 2157. Humans had built colonies on the Moon and Mars. Space stations orbited Earth. Yet humanity had not ventured beyond the solar system. The stars remained distant dreams. Sam Powell, the team's engineer, checked his equipment one last time. His fingers, protected by thin thermal gloves, moved quickly across the control panel. "Energy readings are getting stronger. Whatever's down, there, it's big." The massive drill cut through the ancient ice. It had been running for days, going deeper than any previous expedition. Scientists and soldiers gathered around monitors inside the heated base camp. "We're approaching the source," Sam announced, eyes fixed on his screen. 300 meters, 200. Alan could barely contain his excitement. As a xenoarchaeologist, he had spent his career looking for signs of alien life. Most of his colleagues thought he was wasting his time. Earth had never found concrete proof of intelligent alien civilizations, but Alan had always believed they weren't alone. 100 meters. The drill suddenly stopped. Red warning lights flashed across the control panel. "What happened?" asked Olivia, her hand moving to the gun at her hip. Sam frowned at his readings. The drill hit something solid. Really solid. Not ice or rock. "Can we get a camera down there?" Alan asked, heart racing. Sam nodded and sent a small probe down the drill shaft. The team gathered around the main screen. At first, they saw only darkness. Then the probe's lights came on. "Oh my God," whispered Alan. The screen showed a smooth, metallic surface. It curved gently, shimmering with a faint blue glow. Lines of strange symbols ran across it. "That's not natural," Olivia stated flatly. "No," Alan agreed, his voice filled with wonder. "That's a spacecraft." Within hours, the base camp buzzed with activity. More equipment arrived, more scientists, more soldiers. They widened the drill shaft and sent down a team to investigate. Alan, Olivia, and Sam descended into the darkness. Their specialized suits protected them from the cold. Powerful lights illuminated their way. After a long descent, they reached the mysterious object. Standing before it, Alan felt tiny. The spacecraft stretched far beyond their lights, in both directions. Its surface was made of a material unknown to Earth science. "It's been here for thousands of years," Alan said, running his hand along the smooth hull. "Maybe longer." Sam's scanner beeped. "I'm detecting an opening 50 meters east." They followed the hull until they found what looked like a sealed doorway. Strange symbols surrounded it. "Can we open it?" Olivia asked, clearly uncomfortable. Sam studied the door. "Maybe. There seems to be a panel here." He brushed away ice from a small section of the hull. A panel of light appeared, glowing softly. "Should we?" Olivia asked. Alan nodded. "This is what we came for." Sam pressed his hand against the panel. Nothing happened. Alan tried next with the same result. When Olivia touched it, the panel flashed bright blue. A low humming filled the air. The massive door began to move for the first time in thousands of years. It slid sideways, revealing a dark passage. "The air inside is breathable," Sam said, checking his scanner. "Temperature is rising too." They removed their helmets and stepped inside. Lights activated as they walked, illuminating a corridor tall enough for giants. Everything was built on a massive scale. "Whoever built this was huge," Olivia remarked. They reached what appeared to be the main chamber. It was a vast room filled with technology beyond human understanding. In the center stood a transparent pod, taller than 3 men. Inside the pod was a giant. The being inside measured at least 12 feet tall. Its skin was pale gray with faint patterns that seemed to shift and change. Its face looked almost human, but with features too perfect to be natural. It appeared to be sleeping. "Is it alive?" Olivia whispered. Sam checked his scanner. Yes, but in some kind of suspended animation. Alan approached the pod carefully. "Look at the craftsmanship of everything. This civilization must have been incredibly advanced." As he neared the pod, panels around it lit up. A series of symbols flashed across screens. "I think you triggered something," Sam said nervously. A mechanical voice spoke in an unknown language. The liquid inside the pod began to drain. "What's happening?" Olivia raised her weapon. "I think it's waking up," Alan replied. Sam frantically checked the readings on his device. "The pod is starting a revival sequence. It's a medical system." The giant's chest began to rise and fall slowly. Its fingers twitched. "We need to report this immediately," said Olivia, backing away. "The world needs to know." They quickly established a communication link to the surface. Within minutes, word spread across Earth. An alien life form had been discovered. Humanity was not alone. While the giant continued its slow awakening, experts from around the world arrived at the site. Government officials argued about how to proceed. Military forces secured the area. Dr. Lisa Bennett, Earth's leading linguist, examined the symbols throughout the ship. "These markings match nothing in human history," she explained. "But there are patterns. I might be able to decipher them." 3 days after the discovery, she made a breakthrough. "I've translated some of the text near the pod," she told the gathered scientists. "It refers to the being as an architect and a member of an ancient and powerful species." "Is there any mention of why it's here?" Alan asked. Lisa nodded. "The ship appears to be a scout vessel. The text mentions a war and critical injuries. The giant was placed in stasis for healing." "How long was it supposed to sleep?" Sam asked. Lisa's face grew serious. "According to the timestamps I've deciphered, about 500 years. But based on dating of the ice layers above the ship, it's been here for at least 15,000 years. Alan looked at the giant, still slowly awakening. "So this is an ancient being from a powerful civilization, who's been asleep far longer than intended." "Yes," Lisa confirmed. "The giant has slept too long, and now it's waking up in a world very different from the one it knew." In the pod, the giant's eyes began to move beneath closed lids. The awakening was nearly complete. Humanity held its breath, waiting. The research base around the ancient ship grew larger every day. Prefabricated buildings covered the ice. Helicopters and transport planes landed hourly, bringing more people and equipment. A small city had formed in the Antarctic wilderness. Colonel Jack Warren arrived to take command of security. He was a stern man with gray hair cut short and cold eyes that missed nothing. Hundreds of soldiers followed his orders, setting up weapon systems around the ship entrance. "I don't like this situation," he told Dr. Alan Frost. "We know nothing about this creature or its intentions." "It's a scientific discovery, not a military threat," Alan argued. Colonel Warren shook his head. "Anything unknown is a potential threat." Inside the ship, the giant continued to wake slowly. Its massive chest rose and fell with stronger breaths. Sometimes its fingers twitched. The medical pod had fully drained now, but still sealed the giant inside. Dr. Lisa Bennett worked day and night to understand the alien language. She set up her equipment near the pod, recording every symbol that appeared on the ship's screens. "The language has a mathematical structure," she explained to Alan. "It's beautiful in its complexity." Sam Powell studied the ship's technology, careful not to trigger any more systems. "The power source is still functioning after thousands of years," he said with amazement. "We could learn so much from this." On the 5th day after discovery, the pod's cover began to slide open. Everyone inside the ship backed away. Soldiers raised their weapons. "Nobody fires unless I give the order," Colonel Warren commanded. The giant's eyes opened. They were a deep purple color with no visible pupils. It blinked several times, then tried to sit up. Its movements were slow and awkward, like someone who had been in bed for a very long time. The giant looked around the chamber, seeing the humans for the first time. It spoke, its voice deep and rumbling in an unknown language. Lisa activated her translation program, which contained everything she had learned so far. It asked where it is, she said. Colonel Warren stepped forward. Tell it that it's on Earth. Lisa entered the translation into her device, which produced sounds in the lower alien language. The giant's reaction was immediate. It tried to stand up too quickly and fell back. Its face showed confusion and alarm. It spoke again, faster this time. It says that's impossible, Lisa translated. It says it's only been asleep for a short time. Alan approached carefully. Ask it who it is and why it came here. After Lisa translated, the giant stared at them for a long moment. Then it touched its chest with one massive hand. Korvac, it said. The name needed no translation. The giant continued speaking, and Lisa worked quickly to translate. He says he is a scout of the architects. He was injured in a battle against... The translation is unclear here. Something called the Void. He placed himself in healing sleep and set course for a safe world. Ask how long he was supposed to sleep, Sam suggested. The answer shocked everyone. 500 years, Lisa translated. The medical pod was programmed for 500 years of healing. Alan stepped closer to the giant named Korvac. We believe you've been asleep for much longer, approximately 15,000 years. When this was translated, Korvac's expression changed to one of horror. He spoke rapidly, his voice rising. He's asking about his civilization, Lisa said. He wants to know about the other architects. No one had an answer. Earth had never encountered aliens before finding Korvac. The giant tried to stand again. This time he succeeded, rising to his full height. Everyone stepped back. Even Colonel Warren looked small compared to Korvac. The giant looked down at them, his eyes focused on their weapons. He spoke again, his voice now cold. He's asking if we are enemies, Lisa translated. Tell him we mean no harm, Alan said quickly. We found his ship by accident and awakened him. We know nothing of his people. When Lisa translated this, Korvac seemed to consider their words carefully. Then he reached out and touched the wall of the ship. A large screen appeared showing star maps and strange symbols. Sam studied the display. I think he's looking for his home. Korvac pressed various symbols. The star map changed many times. Each time he became more agitated. He spoke again, his voice quieter now. He says he can't find his home signals, Lisa translated. All architect outposts and colonies should be sending beacon signals. He detects none. Alan felt a deep sadness watching the giant search desperately for any sign of his people. Finally, Korvac stopped. His massive shoulders slumped. I think he's realizing that his civilization might be gone, Alan said softly. Korvac turned to the humans. He spoke slowly, giving Lisa time to translate. He wants to know everything about us, she said. How we evolved, our history, our technology level. For hours they tried to explain human history to the ancient giant. They showed him images and videos on their devices. They told him about Earth's nations, about the Moon and Mars colonies, about humanity's dreams of reaching the stars. Korvac listened carefully. Sometimes he asked questions. Sometimes he just stared in silence. When they mentioned humanity's attempts to build faster-than-light engines, he made a sound that might have been a laugh. He says our technology is primitive, Lisa translated, but he seems impressed that we've achieved as much as we have. As night fell outside, Korvac accessed more of his ship's systems. Holographic displays appeared around the chamber, showing images that took everyone's breath away. Vast cities floating in space, enormous ships traveling between stars, beings like Korvac building structures that dwarfed mountains. The architects, Alan whispered. They were giants in every sense. Korvac spoke again, looking directly at Colonel Warren and his soldiers. He says he poses no threat to Earth, Lisa translated. He is alone, the last of his kind as far as he knows. But he warns that the galaxy is not empty or peaceful. His people were guardians against something they called the Void. Without the architects, he fears it may have grown strong again. What is this Void? Colonel Warren asked. Korvac's answer was short, but his expression conveyed deep fear. He says it is the enemy of all life, Lisa translated. And if his people are truly gone, all worlds may be in danger. Colonel Warren frowned. Ask if he will share his technology with us, especially weapons and faster-than-light travel. When this request was translated, Korvac studied the humans carefully. Then he nodded slowly. He says he will share some technology, Lisa reported, in exchange for our help finding any architects who might have survived. He says Earth needs defenses it doesn't have. That night, as most of the humans rested, Korvac stood at a window looking up at the stars. Alan watched him from a distance, wondering what the giant was thinking. How would it feel to wake up and find your entire civilization gone? To be the last of your kind? Korvac turned and saw Alan watching. The giant pointed to the stars, then placed his hand over his heart. No translation was needed. He was mourning his home. 6 months passed since Korvac's awakening. Earth had changed forever. The giant's technology revolutionized human science overnight. What once would have taken decades now happened in weeks. At the New Mexico Space Center, Sam Powell made final checks on the sleek spacecraft before him. The ship gleamed silver in the morning sun. Its name, EAS Pathfinder, was painted proudly on the hull. EAS stood for Earth Alliance ship. "Is she ready?" asked Captain Grace Miller as she approached. She was a tall woman with short blonde hair and a confident walk. As the commander of humanity's first interstellar vessel, she carried great responsibility. "Ready as she'll ever be," Sam replied. He had spent months working with Korvac, learning alien engineering principles. "The faster-than-light drive is installed and tested. We can reach Alpha Centauri in just 3 days." Captain Miller nodded, her eyes on the ship. "Hard to believe we're actually doing this, going to the stars." Inside the facility, Dr. Alan Frost helped Korvac adjust his special suit. The giant had to bend down to fit in the human building. Even with the high ceilings of the Space Center, his head nearly touched the top. "Are you sure about joining this mission?" Alan asked. "We could send coordinates of the Architect outpost. You don't have to come." Korvac's voice was deep but gentle. After months of learning, he now spoke basic English. "I must see with my own eyes, must know truth about my people." Lieutenant Olivia Martinez entered the room, now wearing the blue uniform of the Earth Space Forces. "The pre-flight briefing starts in 10 minutes, she announced. 2 hours later, the crew of 12 humans and 1 architect boarded the Pathfinder. Besides Captain Miller, the crew included Alan, Sam, Olivia, and other specially trained personnel. Each was chosen for their skills and adaptability. Thousands gathered to watch the historic launch. Millions more watched on screens around the world. The Pathfinder rose silently into the blue sky, powered by Korvac's gravity technology. No flames or smoke followed it. Once in orbit, Captain Miller addressed her crew. "Today we make history. We are the first humans to leave our solar system. Our mission is to visit the Architect outpost in the Alpha Centauri system and search for signs of surviving architects." Korvac stood at the back of the bridge watching. Even hunched over, he was still much taller than any human. His purple eyes reflected the starlight from the viewing windows. "Faster-than-light drive is charged," reported Sam from his station. "Ready on your command." Captain Miller took a deep breath. "Engage." The stars outside blurred. A tunnel of swirling blue light formed around the ship. The Pathfinder jumped to faster-than-light speed for the first time. 3 days later, they arrived at Alpha Centauri. The ship returned to normal space near the system's 5th planet, where Korvac said an Architect outpost had been located. "Scanning the planet," Sam announced. His face fell as he read the results. "I'm detecting ruins, large structures but heavily damaged. No life signs." Korvac moved to the scanner. His massive fingers tapped controls specially designed for him. "Outpost destroyed, long time ago." The Pathfinder moved closer to the planet. Through the viewing windows, they could see a gray world with the remains of enormous structures on its surface. Some buildings were as big as cities. "What happened here?" asked Alan. Before Korvac could answer, the ship's alarms blared. Unknown vessel approaching, Olivia called from the tactical station. It just appeared on sensors. On the main screen, a dark, jagged ship appeared. It was 3 times the size of the Pathfinder with sharp edges that made it look like a weapon itself. Architect ship? Captain Miller asked hopefully. Korvac's face darkened. No. Draconian warship. Dangerous. They're scanning us, Sam reported. Suddenly, Korvac straightened to his full height. For the first time, the human saw fear on his face. They must not know I am here, hide me, but it was too late. The alien ship changed course, heading directly toward them. They're powering weapons, Olivia shouted. Captain Miller took her command seat. Shields up, try to hail them. Sam worked frantically at his console. No response to our signals. The alien ship fired. A beam of red energy struck the Pathfinder. The shields held, but barely. Return fire? Olivia asked. No, Captain Miller ordered. We're explorers, not warriors. Prepare to retreat. Korvac moved to an empty console. His hands flew across the controls. Must escape. Draconians hate architects. Call me World Breaker in their language. The enemy ship fired again. This time the shields flickered. Shields at 40%. Sam called out. Why do they hate your people? Alan asked Korvac. Long story, no time now. The giant's purple eyes began to glow. He placed his hands on the console and strange energy flowed from his fingers into the ship's systems. The Pathfinder's engines surged with new power. The ship accelerated faster than its human designers thought possible. What are you doing? Captain Miller demanded. Helping, Korvac replied simply. His eyes glowed brighter. Accessing dormant abilities, long unused. The Draconian ship fired once more, but the beam missed as the Pathfinder swerved impossibly fast. Then Korvac pressed a final control. Space itself seemed to fold around their ship. They jumped back to faster than light travel. The enemy ship disappeared from their sensors. When they were safely away, Korvac collapsed into his oversized chair. He looked exhausted. What did you do? Sam asked in amazement. Telepathic link with ship. Architect ability. Not used for very long time. Korvac's breathing was heavy. Used too much energy. Need rest. As the giant recovered, Captain Miller called a meeting of the senior crew. They gathered in the conference room, faces serious. We need answers, she said to Korvac. Why did that ship attack us? What are Draconians? And why did they call you Worldbreaker? Korvac looked at each human face before speaking. Draconians were once peaceful species. Architects helped them develop, but they turned against us, started war. Is that the war you were injured in? Alan asked. Korvac shook his head. No. Older conflict, against the void. After architects. Weakened from that war, Draconians rebelled, took control of many systems. Are they the dominant species now? Asked Olivia. Seemed to be. Korvac's expression was grim. Without architects to keep balance, galaxy changed. Many peaceful species now suffer. Captain Miller leaned forward. You still haven't said why they called you Worldbreaker. Korvac was silent for a moment. During rebellion, I commanded Defense Fleet. Had to make difficult choice. To stop Draconian. Advanced destroyed planet they captured. Saved many systems but cost many lives. The humans stared at him in shock. You destroyed an entire planet? Sam's voice was barely a whisper. Korvac nodded slowly. War brings terrible choices. Not proud of it, but necessary to save billions on other worlds. Captain Miller stood up. We need to return to Earth immediately. Report what we found. Humanity needs to prepare. No, Korvac said firmly. Too dangerous to return now. Draconians may track us. We'll find Earth. Your world not ready. Then where should we go? Alan asked. Trading outpost in nearby system. Many species there. Can learn more about current state of galaxy. Find allies. Korvac looked at Captain Miller. Humans unknown in galaxy. Advantage for now. Use it. After much debate, Captain Miller agreed to Korvac's plan. The Pathfinder changed course for the trading outpost. As the ship traveled through faster-than-light space, Alan found Korvac alone in the observation room, staring at the swirling blue tunnel outside. "There's more you haven't told us, isn't there?" Alan asked. Korvac did not look away from the window. "Yes, much more. Some things humans not ready to know." "About the void?" The giant nodded slowly. "The void comes again, can feel it. Why? I must find any surviving architects. Why humans must learn quickly." "Learn what?" Korvac finally turned to look at Alan. "How to be giants themselves." The trading outpost orbited a small yellow star. From a distance, it looked like a metal ring with countless lights blinking across its surface. Small ships flew in and out like bees around a hive. "Hide your weapons," Korvac advised as the Pathfinder approached. "Trading outpost has strict rules. No fighting allowed." Captain Miller ordered the crew to conceal their sidearms but remain alert. "How do we know it's safe?" she asked. "No place in Galaxy truly safe," Korvac replied. "But outpost needs business from all species. Violence bad for trade." The Pathfinder docked at an available port. The crew marveled at the variety of ships around them. Some were small and sleek. Others were huge and bulky. All were designs humans had never seen before. Captain Miller selected a small team to explore the outpost. Herself, Korvac, Alan, Olivia, and Sam. The rest of the crew would stay aboard and repair the damage from the draconian attack. "Remember, we are here to gather information," Captain Miller reminded them. "Keep low profiles." That proved impossible as soon as they left the ship. Korvac could not hide his size or species. Aliens of all shapes and sizes stopped to stare at the giant. Some pointed, others backed away in fear. A few bowed deeply. The outpost interior was a maze of corridors and open markets. Shops sold goods from across the galaxy. Food, weapons, technology, and things the humans couldn't even identify. The air smelled of strange spices and machine oil. "They're all staring at us," Olivia whispered, her hand near her hidden weapon. "Not at us," Alan corrected. "At Korvac." A small green-skinned alien approached them. It had 4 arms and large blinking eyes. It spoke in a musical language. Korvac responded in the same tongue, then turned to the humans. "This one says architect not seen for thousands of years. Many believed extinct, our presence causing excitement." "Can we trust it?" Captain Miller asked. "Not sure. Trust no one yet." Korvac looked around cautiously. "We should find quiet place. Too exposed here." They found a small eating establishment tucked away from the main corridors. The owner, a blob-like creature with multiple eyes, showed them to a back room after Korvac paid with a small piece of metal from his suit. "What was that payment?" Sam asked once they were seated. "Architect metal. Very rare now. Very valuable," Korvac explained. "Will buy us privacy and information." They ordered drinks they hoped were safe for humans. As they waited, Alan noticed the other patrons watching them with a mixture of curiosity and fear. "We need to understand the current political situation," Captain Miller said quietly. "Who controls what? Who are potential allies?" Before Korvac could answer, the door opened. A slender humanoid female entered. She looked almost human except for her silver skin and completely white eyes. 4 armed guards followed her. Olivia tensed, ready for trouble, but the silver woman simply sat down at their table uninvited. An architect and humans. "What a fascinating combination," she said in perfect English. "I am Zira, leader of the resistance." Captain Miller studied her carefully. "What resistance?" "Against the Draconian Empire, of course." Zira smiled, showing teeth that glinted like metal. "They control 60% of known space now. Their rule is cruel. Many species suffer under them." "How do you speak our language?" Alan asked. "Universal translator." Zira tapped a small device on her throat. "And I make it my business to know all languages, especially when new species enter galactic stage." Korvac leaned forward. How know we can trust you? Zira's white eyes fixed on the giant. Because the Draconians have put a price on both our heads, and because there is a prophecy among my people. It says that when darkness covers the stars, the architects will return to fight alongside the children of light. Sam looked skeptical. You believe we're part of some prophecy? I believe in taking any advantage in this war. Zira's voice hardened. The appearance of an architect after thousands of years cannot be coincidence, and humans were unknown to us until now. The timing is significant. What exactly do you want from us? Captain Miller asked. Join us. Fight with us. Zira spread her hands. Your ship has architect technology. Your giant friend has knowledge we need. Together we might have a chance against the Draconians. Captain Miller shook her head. We're explorers, not soldiers. Our mission is to find surviving architects and return home. There are no other architects, Zira said flatly. At least none that have been seen for millennia. And if you return to your world now, you will only lead the Draconians there. They are already searching for your ship. This news silenced everyone at the table. Finally, Alan spoke. We need to warn Earth. They must prepare defenses. Korvac nodded slowly. Yes, but first need better understanding of enemy. Need allies. Captain Miller considered their options. Tell us more about this resistance of yours, she finally said to Zira. Zira smiled. Come with me, and I will show you. 2 hours later, they boarded Zira's ship. It was small but well-armed, with stealth technology that made it nearly invisible to sensors. They traveled to a nearby asteroid field where dozens of ships hid among the rocks. This is just one of our bases, Zira explained as they docked with a larger vessel hidden inside a hollow asteroid. We have others scattered throughout nearby systems. Inside the base, hundreds of aliens from different species worked together. Some repaired ships, others trained with weapons. Many wore bandages or had visible injuries. These are the survivors, Zira said. Those who escaped Draconian rule or lost their worlds to conquest. A large holographic map showed nearby star systems. Red areas marked Draconian territory, which covered most of the map. Small blue dots represented resistance bases. The situation looks bad, Captain Miller observed. It is bad, Zira agreed. But now we have hope. The legends say when the architects return, the tide will turn. Korvac studied the map with a troubled expression. Draconians control more than expected, expanded quickly. Without the architects, to stop them nothing could, Zira replied. Some say they were waiting for your kind to disappear before making their move. While Captain Miller discussed strategy with Zira, Korvac took Sam and Olivia aside. He led them to a quiet corner of the base. Must tell you something important, the giant said, his voice low. Noticed something about humans, special connection to architect technology. What do you mean? Sam asked. When you helped build faster than light drive, when Olivia first touched ship door in ice. Both times technology responded unusually well. Korvac looked at them intently. Want to test something? He removed a small device from his suit. It was a metal cube that glowed with soft blue light. This is Architect Personal Shield. Only works for architects, or should only work for architects. He handed it to Sam. The cube immediately brightened, the blue glow spreading up Sam's arm. What's happening? Sam asked, alarmed. Shield activating, Korvac said, his purple eyes wide with surprise. As suspected, you have connection to architect. Technology, Olivia too, maybe all humans, Olivia frowned. What does that mean? Before Korvac could answer, alarms blared throughout the base. Red lights flashed in the corridors. They rushed back to the command center. Zira was organizing her forces, shouting orders. What's happening? Captain Miller demanded. Draconian. Patrol ships. Zira replied grimly. They found us, we must evacuate. On the main screen, 3 large warships approached the asteroid field. Smaller fighter ships launched from their hangars. How did they find us? Alan asked. Zira's silver face hardened. We have suspected a spy for some time. This confirms it. We need to get back to the Pathfinder. Captain Miller decided. Too late, Zira said. The trading outpost is already under Draconian control. Your ship is probably captured by now. Korvac stepped forward. Then we fight. As the resistance members rushed to battle stations, Korvac gathered the humans. We'll show you. How to use architect weapons may be our only advantage. He distributed small devices similar to the cube he had shown Sam. Each one glowed when touched by human hands. Why does this technology respond to us? Alan asked. Korvac hesitated before answering. Starting to have theory. Need more information. To confirm. The asteroid shook as the first draconian weapons struck. The battle for survival had begun, and the humans from Earth were caught in the middle of a war they barely understood. The resistance base shook as draconian weapons hit the asteroids around them. Chunks of rock floated past the viewing windows. Emergency lights flashed red throughout the corridors. All ships launch now, Zira commanded. Defensive pattern Alpha. Small, fighter ships shot out from hidden hangars. They engaged the incoming draconian vessels, bright energy beams crossing the darkness of space. Inside the base, Korvac worked quickly. His huge hands moved across ancient technology he had carried from his ship. The devices glowed with blue light as he assembled them. What are you building? Sam asked, helping the giant connect power sources. Architect Defense System, Korvac replied. Not used for thousands of years. Hope still works. Captain Miller and Olivia helped the resistance fighters prepare for possible boarding. They distributed weapons and organized defense points. Alan searched through the Resistance's data archives. There must be more information about the void here, he muttered. The scientist had not forgotten Korvac's warning about the greater threat. The battle outside intensified. Despite fighting bravely, the Resistance ships were outnumbered. One by one, they were destroyed or forced to retreat. We cannot hold much longer, Zira reported grimly. The main Draconian cruiser is moving into position to destroy the entire asteroid. Korvac stood up, his device now complete. It was a sphere about the size of a human head, covered in swirling patterns that glowed with increasing brightness. Need to reach highest point in base, he said. Need clear signal to space. Zira led them to an observation dome at the top of the asteroid base. Through the transparent ceiling, they could see the massive Draconian cruiser approaching. It was black and red, shaped like a predatory animal with weapons bristling from every surface. What exactly will that device do? Captain Miller asked, eyeing the glowing sphere. Send special signal, Korvac explained. Signal that Draconian sphere. He placed the sphere in the center of the dome. Then he knelt beside it and placed his huge hands on its surface. The patterns began to move faster, the light growing blindingly bright. Everyone step back, the giant warned. As the humans and Zira moved away, Korvac closed his eyes in concentration. The sphere lifted off the ground, floating in the air. A beam of blue light shot upward, passing through the dome and into space. On. The approaching Draconian ships' alarms sounded. Their weapons faltered, their engines stalled. It's working, Zira exclaimed, watching on a nearby monitor as the enemy ships began to drift. But the main cruiser continued its approach. A voice boomed from the communication system, speaking in a harsh, guttural language. They recognize the architect signal, Zira translated. But they say it's a trick. They don't believe a real architect could be here. Korvac's eyes snapped, open. They glowed with the same blue light as the sphere. Then I will show them. The giant stood at his full height. The blue energy from the sphere flowed into his body. Before the amazed eyes of everyone present, Korvac began to grow. His already impressive height increased. 12 feet became 15, then 20. His body glowed with power not seen in the galaxy for thousands of years. By the stars, whispered Zira. The legends were true. Korvac's voice resonated with power. I am Korvac, guardian architect, protector of life, the giant who slept too long. He raised his hands and the blue energy formed a shield around the entire asteroid base. The next shots from the Draconian cruiser bounced harmlessly off. Then Korvac did something even more amazing. He reached out with one massive hand and seemed to grab the fabric of space itself. With a gesture, he created a rip in reality. Through this opening, they could see Earth's solar system. A portal, Sam said in awe. He's creating a direct path home. But before anyone could move toward this escape route, Alan came running into the dome. His face was pale with shock. "I found it," he shouted. "Information about the void." He held up a data device showing ancient texts and images. "It's not just a war or an enemy species. The void is a cosmic entity that consumes entire civilizations. And according to these readings, it's approaching again. That's why the Draconians are expanding so aggressively. They're fleeing from its path." Everyone stared at the images of darkness spreading across star maps, entire systems disappearing into nothingness. Korvac nodded gravely. "Yes, the great enemy returns, as it has many times before." "Why didn't you tell us?" Captain Miller demanded. "Could not be sure. Memory damaged from long sleep." Korvac looked down at them from his now towering height. "Now remember purpose. Clearer. Was not just injured scout, was messenger, guardian, placed on Earth with specific mission." "What mission?" Olivia asked. Instead of answering directly, Korvac turned to Sam. "Use Architect's shield I gave you. Focus thoughts on activation." Confused but trusting, Sam concentrated on the small cube. The blue light spread over his entire body. Then something unexpected happened. Sam began to float above the ground. "What's happening?" he gasped. "Your true nature awakening," Korvac said. "Now understand why humans connect to Architect technology, why DNA compatible, why instinctively understand our science." Korvac created a hologram showing DNA strands. One was clearly human, the other alien but with striking similarities. "Humans not just random species," the giant explained. "Humans are descendants of architects." "That's impossible," Alan objected. "Humans evolved on Earth." "Yes and no," Korvac replied. "Long ago, when Void first threatened Galaxy, architects created backup plan, seeded compatible planets with modified DNA, created younger species that could one day rise to continue our work." He looked at each human with new respect. "Earth, not just hiding place for me, was incubator for new generation of guardians. Humans are children of architects, different in size and appearance, but same spirit, same potential." To demonstrate, Korvac helped Alan, Olivia, and Captain Miller activate their architect devices. Each responded powerfully, giving them abilities they never imagined possible. "This is why Draconians attacked immediately," Zira realized. "They recognized what humans truly are. They fear your potential." The Draconian cruiser, having recovered from the initial shock, renewed its attack. Their weapons were now focused on breaking through Korvac's shield. "We cannot stay here," the giant decided. "Must return to Earth, prepare your world, awaken more human potential, then face both Draconians and Void." "Will you come with us?" Sam asked. Korvac nodded. "My purpose now clear: to teach, to guide, to help humans become what they were always meant to be." He turned to Zira. "You and your people welcome too. Earth needs allies." The silver-skinned woman smiled. "The prophecy speaks of fighting alongside the architects. We will follow." As the Draconian cruiser closed in, Korvac expanded the portal. The resistance fighters rushed their essential equipment through the opening. The humans helped coordinate the evacuation. Sam stood beside Korvac, now able to manipulate Architect technology almost instinctively. "So we're part Architect, we're related to you?" "In way that matters, yes." Korvac placed a giant hand gently on Sam's shoulder. "Humans smaller in size, but potential for greatness just as large. Perhaps larger because you see universe differently." The last of the resistance fighters passed through the portal. Now only the original team from the Pathfinder remained with Korvac and Zira. "Time to go," the giant said as the Draconian weapons finally began to crack his shield. One by one they stepped through the portal. Korvac was last, holding the gateway open until everyone was safe. Before stepping through himself, he looked back at the approaching Draconian ships. "The giant has awakened. he said, and so too shall his children. With that, he passed through the portal. It closed behind him just as the draconian cruiser reached the asteroid. On Earth, humanity would soon learn of their true heritage and the threats that awaited among the stars. The giant who slept too long was finally awake, and under his guidance, humanity would rise to face their destiny.